Do you ever wonder what some Democrats are thinking? Oh, I sure do. Do you want to know too? Stay tuned. Representative Al Green's recent confrontation with President Trump, in which he yelled, "You don't have a mandate," exemplifies a pattern of disruptive and disrespectful behavior that undermines the decorum of our legislative institutions. During President Trump's recent address to a joint session of Congress, Green interrupted the proceedings by shouting that the president lacked a mandate to cut Medicaid and waved his cane at the podium. Despite multiple warnings from House Speaker Mike Johnson, Green refused to desist, leading to his removal from the chamber by the House Sergeant at Arms. Such
and one counties in our country, 2,700 to 525, on a map that reads almost completely red for Republican. Now, for the first time in modern history, more Americans believe that our country is headed in the right direction than the wrong direction. In fact, it's an astonishing record, 27-point swing, the most ever. Likewise, small business optimism saw its single largest one-month gain ever recorded, a 41-point jump.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant at Arms to restore order to the joint session. Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant at Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
Such actions are not isolated incidents, but part of Green's long-standing antagonism toward President Trump. Notably, Green was the first lawmaker to introduce articles of impeachment against Trump in 2017, and has continued to be a vocal critic throughout Trump's tenure. His recent outbursts not only disrupted a constitutionally mandated address, but also disrespected the office of the presidency and the legislative process. In response, House Republicans, led by Representative Dan Newhouse, have passed a resolution to censure Green for his repeated violations of decorum. House Speaker Mike Johnson has expressed support for this measure, emphasizing the need to uphold the dignity of the institution. Green is going around acting like he did something honorable and giving interviews and threatening to introduce articles of impeachment against the president once again. Green's actions highlight a broader issue of incivility and partisanship that threatens the effective functioning of our government. While robust debate is essential in a democracy, there's a line between constructive dissent and disruptive conduct. By choosing to interrupt the president's address in such a manner, Green not only disrespected the office but also set a troubling precedent for future interactions between the legislative and executive branches. It is imperative for members of Congress to maintain a standard of conduct that reflects the gravity of their position and the trust placed in them by the American people. Actions like those of Representative Green serve only to deepen divisions and distract from the critical issues facing our nation. In a recent episode of The View, co-host lovely Joy Behar questioned the legitimacy of President Trump's mandate, citing his narrow popular vote victory and the slim Republican majorities in Congress. But ESPN commentator Stephen A. Smith countered this perspective by highlighting key factors that, in his view, constitute a mandate. First of all, Trump secured wins in all 7 swing states, demonstrating broad electoral support. He also increased his vote share among Black, Latino, and young voters compared to previous elections. And Trump became the first Republican since 2004 to win the popular vote, marking a significant shift in voter sentiment. Smith argued that these factors reflect a clear mandate from the American electorate, suggesting that the Democratic Party needs to reassess and refine its messaging to address the evolving priorities of voters. These crazy Democrats are destroying their chances in the midterms. I, for one, hope they keep up this nonsense. How about you? Watch the following video clip and please share your thoughts in the comments.
So Trump's only been in office for 6 weeks. Seems like 6 years, doesn't it? And he's been going around with his cronies touting his so-called landslide and blowout win. But he won the popular vote by 1.5%, one of the smallest ever, and he won the general election by less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, it is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't mind the question, but let me be very clear. I'm no supporter of Trump. I'm a supporter of truth and the facts. And here's the facts. The man won every swing state. He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of Blacks, Latinos, and young voters. He increased his numbers in that regard from 2020. 89% of the counties shifted to the right. That's a mandate. We can sit up there and play around all we want to. In 2020, Trump didn't win the popular vote. He didn't win the electoral college vote. A matter of fact, the Republicans hadn't won the popular vote, if I remember correctly, since 2004. But they did this year. So 20 years after they last won the popular vote, they won the popular vote. They won the electoral college vote. The man won every swing state. And on top of it, 89% of the counties shifted against. I don't understand how people can look at that and say, there's no mandate. There's a mandate.
Well, it's a